Jake, just your thoughts on what the difference was in the game in terms of how it went wrong, and then also feeding into that, how big a loss, I would imagine it was a big loss to lose Kane on the eve of the game.
Yeah.
It probably was a tactical kicking game. Probably.
Yeah, look, I mean, firstly, we've got to be a bit humble. I think Stormers played really well tonight. And I mean, they are champions. They've got an incredible record at home. And I mean, they're not champions of URC for nothing. 10 Springboks. So, I mean, I just said to the players, we would have had to play really well tonight, and we would have had to put them under pressure and get them to panic a little bit for us to have won this game. And credit to them, they didn't panic. They got a good start. To be 17-0 down to the team that's won the championship, it's not many teams in this comp, in Cape Town are going to come back and win that game. But 3 tries, 21 points for the amount of ball we had, for the amount of territory we had. I got to be proud by the way that the players stuck to it. I mean, the way they fought into the game. As coaches, you always measure those sort of things, because they could quite easily have just laid down and died and got given a 30-point or 40-point drubbing. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I say. I think so. To answer your question, Stephen, it's and then to lose Kane and then Goosen, So, I mean, those are 2 Springboks who've got X factor for us. We're probably not in the fortunate situation like other teams to have those kind of players to our disposal, as many as the other franchises. And when I reflect on the URC, that's the one thing I probably see that we're lacking a couple of X factor guys. Maybe next year we'll try and do some recruiting and get a couple of X factor guys that can open the game up a bit. So that's our work on. That's basically what I said to the players. I guarantee you we'll get it right. I guarantee you we'll work hard enough, and I guarantee you that this time next year we'll be a much better team from the lessons we learned in this campaign.
Like that 17-7, you must have felt quite good at half time, because in a way it could have been a lot worse.
That's exactly what I said at half time, Craig. I said 17-7 and we haven't even had the ball. So I said to them, gee, can you imagine now, we can turn this thing around. I mean, 17-7 and we scored. People often talk about scoring right before half-time and right after half-time. So to get a score just before half-time is a thing that coaches talk about. Those championship minutes are the ones just before half-time, just after half-time, and the back end of a game. So, to score the last play and score just before half-time, I mean, 2 of the 3 we got right, But I say it again, credit to Stormers. They're a good team, they're champions. They've got an incredible record here, and 10 incumbent Springboks. We don't have 10 incumbent Springboks. I know in some show on TV they said we got 14, but we've got about 4 that are retiring this week. So, but anyway.
Jake,
Yes.
Tremendous territory pressure in the first 20 minutes and latter parts of the first half. What
Yep.
was the message at half time? You obviously guys scored double as many points in the second half.
Well, the message was we try and score quickly after half time, because I thought at 17-7 we score and make it 17-14 would have been exactly the pressure that I wanted to apply to the Stormers. I wanted them to feel it was like to be under the pump in front of their home crowd and feel the pressure. But credit to them. We didn't get that score after half time. In fact, losing Goosen, they probably put us back a bit as well, because he was just starting to understand what we needed to do in terms of the kicking game, and then we lost him. So, but it's quite ironic, because when Kirtley went to fullback, we started carving them from behind, and they caught everything out of the air. And so, I mean, as I said, I'm not sure what the right thing would have been. Is if Kane and Kirtley had played fullback from the start, and we had Goosen at 10, maybe we would have played a bit differently, But it's easy to say that when the game's over. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like, but next year, I'll say it again, I can guarantee you we'll be a much, much better team than we were this year.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
What was Goosen's injury, Jake?
I think some guy whacked him on the head on a tackle. There's a couple of those head-to-head clashes tonight, Gav, which no one saw. I watched a test match where some of those tackles you get red carded. And tonight, best referee, best TMO in South Africa, and nothing wrong.
Jake, you spoke now about some decisions that you didn't get, And also maybe the guys also didn't help themselves, particularly with the set piece, so you get the opportunity in the line of the execution.
Yeah. Well, as I said, Ashok, I mean, I'm not going to give you a whole rundown, but a lot of work goes into preparing clips and video clips of things. The answers are that won't be allowed, and then you see the same pictures in the game, and it is allowed. So I think one thing we're going to have to work out is how can we, through URC, find a way to get, I've heard there's zero tolerance on hands past the ball on the ground. Well, it didn't look like it tonight, I heard that if you sack a maul, then it's a tackle, then you can't lie on top of the ball. But that didn't happen tonight either, So, but to be fair, and now it sounds like, but that's what the Stormers do well, and you've got to adapt to that. They do it well. They're very good at it. I mean, tonight, for argument's sake, one of the things that they did really well is they played the support runner in the breakdowns, and then got over the ball, and never once got penalised for taking out the support runner without the ball. But then credit to them, that they obviously worked really hard in their breakdown, and it works for them. They've got a good set piece. They defend well. So if I analyse the game, it's funny how we went 7-0 down, and I actually said, I don't want the ref to give a penalty at scrum time when someone slips, and then we were 10-0 down. And then when you're 10-0 down against the Stormers, it's incredible because you have to chase the game, And then their defence is so good that once you have to start chasing the game, you almost put yourself under pressure, So.
And the other card, right?
The one that they should have given or the one they did give?
The one they did.
Okay. Because I saw exactly the same picture on the other side of the field, and the captain asked the officials, didn't he tackle him head to head? And he said, no, he didn't have the ball. So I didn't know you could tackle a guy without the ball. And for me, it was a yellow card against Carl for exactly the same picture as against Keegan Johannes in the other corner, So I repeat what I'm saying. I think we need to find a way in which we spend a lot of effort, a lot of time. I mean, Rassie's taught you this many months ago, putting videos together, asking about it, and then you see the pictures, and then you don't get any joy in the same pictures. That's all I'm going to say it again. I've got a lock playing for the Sharks now for the Bulls tonight. He got red carded in a test match for exactly the same tackle that I saw tonight in this game. Red card in a test match. So, I mean.
3 more. Maybe you must post your videos on social media.
Yeah, no, I'm not on social media. I have enough problems without going on to social media.
Jane, apart from getting some X-factor players, what else do you take out of this game?
Yeah, Liam. I mean, as I said, I think they looked sharp. The Stormers, they show us that they've got some. The explosiveness is very good. So we're missing that. And we have got a couple of signings coming. We're busy negotiating a couple of guys. I think next year with Wilco Lowe coming as a tight head prop, is a little bit more seasoned as a tight head prop. Having seen how the Stormers have been successful. I mean, the Stormers they're very solid outfit. They can hold you in the first phase. They can put you under pressure when you try and play from lineouts. They have an incredible defence system. And then as soon as you turn the ball over, then they can punish you. And basically they're not scared to have a crack. And that seems to be the winning recipe for the way you want to win this competition. I often said, Liam, one thing which is incredible about this year for us, we scored the most points, 613 points in the competition. And generally how it works is the Crusaders, when they've dominated Super Rugby, have scored the most points. Brumbies, when they won it, they scored the most points. So, you look at Leinster, generally over the history of this competition, they've scored the most points, and they've always been there and thereabouts. So, as I said, there are a lot of things that I think we can still improve on, and I've said to the players tonight, we'll get it right. I mean, we'll have a big debrief about what we need, and I'm quite lucky in that I work for an organisation that will buy into that. So if we need some X-factor players, we're going to have to find them. If we need to look at our pre-season training and maybe changing the way we do our pre-season training, I'm not going to obviously tell you what I think it is, but we're going to have to find a way in which we can prepare our team to win a URC, because I genuinely think that we're not there yet, and it's not a reflection on the players at all, but we will get there. I mean, I'm 100% right. I've been in this job 41 years. I can tell you that we will get it right.
2 more questions. With obviously with the focus on the Currie Cup now,
yes.
you will see players be rested for a few weeks now, all straight into
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what happens tonight. I mean, I see we're down 22-13, so that could have a massive effect on where we're going to be. I'm going to have to make a decision on where we want to be URC-wise in a year's time. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give you all my things that I've been thinking about because obviously there's an effect on. I think a guy like Ruan Nokia needs to put on weight. I think our front rowers need to put on weight. I think our speedsters need to do speed work, and maybe we need to start from Monday. Maybe we need to start that process from Monday. So I'm going to have to obviously reflect a little bit. This year we didn't have a great year. We came 6th in the log, and we made the Champions League and made the top 16. So we didn't have a good year, and yet we're much better off than some teams. So I'm going to repeat myself. We'll get there. We'll get it right.
So can I just ask?
Alex?
Sorry, just in that, Jake, would you say that the Stormers were the better side today?
They knew. Much better. I mean, as I said to you, the Stormers are a good team. I mean, someone asked me in a press conference this week, was the challenge against Leinster much harder than this one? I mean, these guys are champions. They won the tournament, and they play at home, and they've got all these. They've got everything. They're well oiled. They're really well-oiled group.
And Jake, just in summary for the season.
Yes.
You've lost. You had the 10 losses. You've had your sicknesses.
Yeah.
You've lost the Stormers 6 times.
Yeah.
You've lost the Western Province twice as well.
You're quite a popular guy.
So I want to know is, do you not feel that it's maybe time for you to step down now, or you're going to continue for next year? I just want to know details for your campaign.
I'm not even going to answer that stupid question. Honestly, I'm not even going to answer that stupid question.
So can I just ask, just to clarify, X Factor players, because you've got guys like Kurt Lee and so on.
Yeah.
Are you talking about forwards? You mentioned players need to get more speed.
Yeah, look, I think it's generally just getting the balance. I think, as I said, I think the Stormers, if I use the Stormers as the benchmark, they're the champions. They are, they've won it now, and they get to another, and with all likelihood, guys, with all due respect, can take a massive effort from Connacht to fly here and beat them here. And again, not taking anything away from it because of the travel and because of the home and away advantage. Highly likely Stormers will be in the finals again. It's 2 years in a row this group of players have got to the final. And the model is simple. When I say it's simple, I'm not saying it's easy to get, but it's simple. They've got a good scrum. Their line-out is very efficient. Their defence is very, very strong. And when Marnie's kicking well at goals as well, so they get points. And it becomes a hell of a difficult to catch up to them once they get scoreboard pressure. So to answer your question, I'm going to have to find who we need in order to have a good set piece, to have a bit of X factor, to have that kind of style. Not copying them, but it's obviously something that's working in this competition.
Last question, Gavin.
Yes, Gavin.
Jake, sorry, this is going to sound like odd because your scramble defence was actually very good.
Yeah.
But so I'm not talking about tonight. But how far are you going to be getting a defence coach going forward?
Yeah.
Are you going to be changing, because you're talking a lot about the players, are you
Yes.
going to be changing things on the management?
Massive amount. Lots of changes. And not because I think it's time for change. There's not, some of the guys who've been with us have been with the club for a long, long time. And if I read, and you would also gave all these sort of news, rugby news, changes at this club, changes that club, changes that club. We probably in line for some changes. Changes with new energy, changes with some new ideas. And I think, again, taking nothing away from the guys who've been, some of the guys have been at our club for a long time, but I think we do need a little bit of something different. So we're gonna definitely. That's part of my promise to the players about we will get it right, because I know what's going to happen. I'm already in the process of getting all those things in place. So I know when we walk in pre-season wise, there will be a wow factor.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.